So the midfield sucks. We had no forward connection. Our leadership group is playing like absolute poo. And just like the Bulldogs, it doesn't actually look like we've beaten anyone good yet. So that's where we're at. If you want the Brisbane part of the analysis, that'll come in the Saturday session video that'll get uploaded probably in the morning so I can give this video some time to breathe because I don't want two so close together because no one will be able to watch either. Thanks, YouTube algorithm. But enough about me whinging about that. Let's talk about the Hawks who go down to Brisbane. By how much? I actually don't know. There is 8.5 minutes left in the game as I'm recording this, but is that going to make a shred of difference as to how I feel about it? No. Or if you're not watching this version of the video, it's because we came back and somehow won. So if you're watching that version, cool. But if you're watching this one, we still lost. So that's the way that it goes. But yeah, this has pretty much exposed this performance, pretty much every single thing that I've complained about and that Hawthorn fans have complained to me about complaining about these things, except for one key aspect, one key player, and I'll talk about him as well as a couple of other positives in just a little bit. But I have been, and look, some Hawthorn fans on this channel don't like the fact that I point out Hawthorn's flaws. Because, and look, I can understand why, because I probably am harsher on the Hawks than I am everyone else because, like, I am that emotionally invested in them. So take another club, for example, Collingwood, for example, right? Or maybe if you want to put someone around Hawthorn's sort of mark here, let's say GWS, for example, because they won against the Blues. They had the win against Freo, the loss against Freo, I should say, but the win against Geelong, whereas the Hawks have had the loss against Gold Coast, this, and then the win against Melbourne. So that's a good example to go with, whereas it's like, I'll go, yeah, GWS's problem might be this, but the good is this, and this is what we can look out for. I don't really do that with the Hawks because it's kind of like, here is some good, but here is the bad, and this is what's making me nervous, and this is why I'm worried. But if we keep doing this and this, we're going to be okay. And then I get some Hawthorn fans that go, you're talking about this in a bad way, you're not a real fan. I am a fan, and I really want this to go well, but I'm also not going to blow smoke up the arse of the footy club when I don't think they deserve it. There is good and bad to talk about, and if you only eliminate half of that, you either become extremely naive or extremely dense. Now, in my experience, you miss out on some opportunities that way. The bad of it is pretty much as simple as we went off the top. The midfield sucks, guys, right? Seriously, we've offered Jimmy Warple 4 years and, great. Connor Nash, first game back, if you want to excuse it, that's fine, but he looked rusty. It is what it is. Mackenzie was subbed out. Jai was quiet, but I've always said that if Jai's your number 2, awesome, that's great. And look, if Will Day was perfectly fit and we did get a Zach Butters or a Harley Reid, which I still think is looking more and more unlikely at this point, I think we would be third on the Butters list in terms of where it would go. I think it would be Bulldogs 1, Geelong 2, because why wouldn't it be Geelong? And then us 3. Maybe you can throw the Bombers in there if you want to, but like, Jai's not a number 1, but that's okay because there are times where he can pull out that number 1 performance. But Jimmy Warple ain't a 2, and we just didn't have a number 2 in there. And I think where I've gone wrong with my Josh Ward, both praise and criticism, my epiphany on Josh Ward is that if I said, it doesn't matter where he was picked in the draft, but if you get a top draft pick and he can turn into a number 3 in the comp, because he's cool, he's composed, he's classy, he's all of those things, but I don't think his ceiling is an A-grade or number 1 midfielder. And maybe that's what I've wanted him to be, and that's just wrong for me to assume that. So maybe he's not that. But if he could be the number 3 midfielder in a premiership team, is that achievable? I think yes, because he was the only one who lowered the eyes inside 50 for the first 2.5 quarters. And that's not to say he didn't in that spare half a quarter. He wasn't delivering the ball inside 50 every time. But that composure is awesome. So if that's what he is and he can just become the best version of that, I can live with that in a big way. Team Wardy for sure. But again, you're not going to convince me, like, he's not a number 1. Jai wasn't a number 1 today. Jimmy's not a number 1. Connor's not a number 1. Cam McKenzie's not a number 1, and then he gets subbed out. So we don't have a number 1 midfielder that can play against Neil, Dunkley, McCluggage, who is better, I'm sorry to say, than all of our midfielders. Like, if you said to Brisbane, hey, would you replace Neil, McCluggage, Dunkley, or Will Ashcroft with Jai? Would you do it? They would say no. And that's what you got to live with. Now, having the be-all and end-all of tough contested midfields is not the way to go. Look at Carlton. They were plus 38 against the Giants, and it went nowhere. You've got to be able to do more than that. But the narrative around this midfield is that if you think this current mix is the answer, even if you include Will Day in there, that's just not the case. Because when midfield momentum is taken away from us, we don't have enough that can win it back. We just don't. Now, that's okay in terms of that's part of the evolution moving forward, but that is going to put a ceiling on this season for us. And we can hopefully now only rely on Will coming back in and being fit enough to play full midfield minutes, and then hopefully having some better form from these other guys. Like, I think it is unfair for Jai to have to be an A-plus grade midfielder every single week, but that's probably not what he is. But what he would be in a premiership team is not this. So we've got to find a way to live with that. So outside of the midfield stuff, like the forward line was horrible. The fact that Nick Watson is our most dangerous forward, and Brisbane told us that because he got tagged by Noah Answorth, says something. It says something about the rest for Gunners just killed all of his momentum. The fact that Guinea was the high half forward up the ground. The fact that even though Connor McDonald kicked 3 goals in that first half and was awesome, welcome back to form Croc, they didn't really give him a lot of respect the further he went inside 50. So that was a little bit of a problem. Is it going to be a long-term one? I don't think so, genuinely. It was just we had an awful midfield day that was then overlapped, which could be a chronic problem, with a forward line shutdown problem. Even though the scoring shots are relatively similar, we were not getting or taking enough easy shots to get the job done. And then in terms of the other real base negative here is that we've got a captain and a vice captain right now that shouldn't be playing. And no one's a bigger Dylan Moore fan than me. But I can't wrap my head around how we go, they have to play, because they don't. They really don't. And we've got, you've got Huswaite and you've got Sam Butler who dominated. You've got Seamus Mitchell if you want to play Blake Hardwick forward, who are producing these kinds of numbers that suggest that they should be getting a go. And if Sicily's not 100% fit, then he should be managed. Then you do rest him that way. And then you do ask what's going on, because we don't have the side that has the right to be 10% off and still win. And again, the reason we know that is because the reigning premier did that last week and lost to a team that we beat by 6 goals. So this isn't the overwhelming criticism of everything's fucked, because it's not. It's just not. Long term, it's not. But in the short term, for the rest of the 25 season, this is very much a low point. And I still think that there is upward to go from here, and we can get there. But there is a stubbornness in the stuff it someone else will do it attitude that's starting to kind of annoy me, and I hope it's annoying others as well. And for crying out loud, we need to do tackling practice. We really do. In terms of positives, Connor McDonald, as I said, back in business, which is good. Carl Amon, whose first 2 field kicks were awful. The first one to Dylan Moore, who tried to do the high tackle, got pinged holding the ball, which is the correct decision. I don't care what Zach Bailey did afterwards. That Moore decision was holding the ball, as was Ginnivan's. That's just a fact. Both of them were the correct decision. The first Zach Bailey one was the correct decision. But also, if there's anyone that shouldn't be fighting over 2 high free kicks, it's fucking us. All right, that's just a fact. In terms of other positives, Josh Weddle had an 80% day, and it was just the kicking inside 50, Josh, which was just not the plan. And Massimo D'Ambrosio was pretty good. Tom Barras was pretty good. That's about it. There are the MVP votes. The scoreboard will be coming in after this, and overall, there is a feeling of not angry, just disappointed about this, which stinks. So, apologies if you think I'm being harsh or I'm being unfair. If that's the case, that is what it is. But this is how I'm feeling. And this is not even my post-siren thoughts, because the siren hasn't gone yet. Or maybe it has by the time we get to this point. So, thank you for watching. If you're still interested in non-Hawthorn videos, guys, my Saturday session is going to be up tomorrow. So, ranking the winners and losers from the weekend. If you're a Brisbane fan wondering why the hell I haven't spoken about you, that's what that video will be for. So, comment below to engage, guys. I love replying to you. Like the video. If you can just like it, guys, that would be awesome, because it means it stays on the algorithm longer. More people can watch it. More people can enjoy it. And the growth of the channel is largely in your hands too. So every bit of help that you can give is massively appreciated. I hope you are enjoying your weekend. Stinks a little bit because the Hawks lost, but we got a chance to bounce back, which is what we need to do. And don't let the rut set in, and fingers crossed that doesn't happen. So once more, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Saturday session drops in the morning. Goodbye.